Hi, Neil here, Wellbeing Coach at Isorropia. We're going to talk about coping strategies. Procrastination, passive aggressiveness and rumination are examples of unhelpful coping mechanisms that may consciously or unconsciously use to avoid tackling a tough issue or facing thoughts and feelings that are uncomfortable. These behaviours are forms of avoidance coping. Avoiding stress might seem like a great way to become less stressed, but this isn't necessarily the case. More often than not, confronting a problem or dealing with a stressor is the only way to effectively reduce the stress that it causes. People find themselves using avoidance coping instead of facing stress head-on for many reasons. Anxious people can be susceptible to avoidance coping because initially it appears to be the way to avoid anxiety-provoking thoughts and situations. People who are prone to anxiety might have learned avoidance techniques early on and therefore might find it more difficult to learn proactive strategies. If you've learned to adopt these behaviours when you were growing up, they can become a habit by the time you are an adult. However, that does not mean that it needs to remain your main mode for handling stress. Avoidance coping is considered to be maladaptive or unhealthy because it often exacerbates stress without helping a person deal with the things that are causing them the stress. Procrastination is one example. If something that we have to do is stressing us out, we might avoid doing it or even try to stop thinking about it. However, we typically don't stop thinking about it, whatever it is that needs to be done. Rather, we continue to feel stressed about it until it gets done. Have you ever heard the phrase, "What you resist persists"? This is a basic reason that avoidance coping can increase anxiety. When people use this strategy to consciously or unconsciously avoid something that causes them anxiety, they usually create a situation where they need to face it more. When avoidance coping can be helpful. Some forms of passive coping, however, are not maladaptive and are actually healthy. These healthier forms of coping do not necessarily approach the problem directly, but they do affect our response to the problem. Remember that it is healthy to practice techniques that help you feel calmer as you face a difficult situation, even if the techniques don't affect the situation directly. Stress relief strategies like relaxation techniques and jogging can minimize the stress response when you face a problem and even increase your self-confidence. They can empower you to face your stressors more effectively. However, just because something minimizes our stress in one particular moment does not mean that that is a healthy form of coping. For example, eating, shopping, or having an alcoholic drink might make us feel better in the moment, but they have long-term consequences if they are overdone. If we rely on these strategies for stress relief, they can get out of control and create more stress. Instead, it's more effective to create healthy habits that build resilience. If you find yourself using avoidance coping, look for opportunities to replace these behaviours with active coping strategies. If you've tended towards avoidance coping most of your life, or at least are in the habit of using it, it can be hard to know how to stop. So here are some tips to keep in mind as you work on shedding this old behaviour. Recognise when you're doing it. Take a minute to think of situations when you tend to use avoidance coping. Do you procrastinate? Do you avoid discussing problems or facing issues? Make note of these and try to actively notice when you are avoiding something in the future. Once you're able to catch yourself using avoidance behaviours, you will be able to start working on stopping yourself and replacing these unhelpful behaviours with more effective ones. Learn to tolerate. When you become comfortable with being uncomfortable, you will be better able to deal with your feelings and the stresses that cause them. When you can sit with these hard feelings, you'll have more choices about how you want to face a problem because you won't have a knee-jerk avoidance response. Once you become more used to it, facing your problems head-on won't bring you as much anxiety. Meditation. Meditation can help you to separate yourself from your thoughts as you react to stress. so you can stand back and choose a response rather than react out of panic or fear. Meditation also allows you to relax your body, which can reverse your stress response as well. Those who practice meditation tend to be less reactive to stress. Journaling. Journaling allows you to manage your emotions in several ways. It can provide an emotional outlet for stressful feelings. It also can enable you to brainstorm solutions to your problems that you may face. Journaling also helps you to cultivate more positive feelings, which can help you feel less stressed. It also brings other benefits for wellness and stress management, making it a great emotion-focused coping technique. Reframing. Cognitive reframing allows you to shift the way you see a problem, which can actually make the difference between whether or not you feel stressed by facing it. Reframing techniques aren't about tricking yourself out of being stressed or pretending your stresses don't exist. Reframing is more about seeking solutions and new perspectives. Positive thinking. Being an optimist involves specific ways of perceiving problems, ways that maximize your power in a situation and keep you in touch with your options. Both of these things can reduce your experiences of stress and help you to feel empowered in situations that might otherwise overwhelm you. We'll talk about this more in the live later. Thank you.